All right, let's get that countdown started. We do have MaNa versus Liquid Tyler in game number 1 on Metalopolis. This is division number 5, week number 1, and I'm very excited for this. I know that PvP isn't everybody's favorite matchup, but actually, if Axlav Squirtle's any indicator, we do have some excitement in this matchup. Hang in with us, us Protoss players. We can do some fancy footwork.
It is for sure the all-American Protoss going against the all-European Protoss, as MaNa is definitely one of the more recognized Protoss of Europe, placing second in one of his the most recent, or what was it? Was it DreamHack? I think it was DreamHack.
Assembly.
No.
Assembly is the one where the Zergs won.
Yeah.
I don't know.
DreamHack
We're
or
ignorant
IEM?
Americans. Actually, you're an ignorant American. I know exactly what it is, but you dragged me into this, and I now forgot.
Wow.
No, I'm just kidding. It's actually both of us. But
I'm sorry, sir.
Don't say any sorries. It's actually totally my fault as well. We do have MaNa in the red Protoss trunks, warping in the top right-hand corner on Metalopolis, and in closed positions, we do have the blue Protoss, Liquid Tyler from Team Liquid's very own homegrown team. Now, in these closed positions, is it that big of a deal in PvP? Yes. This typically gives a much more of an aggression and timing-oriented feel, whether it be a 4-gate or something like a no-range Colossus timing. We'll have to wait and see. Even Blink Stalkers. I actually happen to know that MaNa loves the 4-gate opening, expand, and Blink Stalker play. That's really strong and difficult to handle, but actually in close positions is a little bit more manageable. Yeah,
that is the more European style. Now, I do sort of favor the 2-gate into 4-gate style that I've seen Fnatic MSI TT1 do in the most recent GOM the GOM World Invitationals. And I would prefer that on this map. Getting the fast 2-gate, it allows you to...
Ooh, nice escape, actually. Okay, slippery seal. Sorry to interrupt you. It was
no,
probe slap
almost lost the probe. That's a lot bigger than people think sometimes. But I would like to see that 2-gate, as the 2-gate does give the ability to do a lot of pressure, and because they're in such close positions, I think it might lead to a little bit of timings in this beginning stage.
Yes. Now, both players are conserving their Chrono Boost. They're right in alignment with each other. You can see the Cybernetics cores are going down at fairly the same time, but actually MaNa a little bit ahead, and sometimes that gives indicator that that's going to go ahead and transform into a 4-gate, but not necessarily so. Both players rallying in good information from each other, go ahead and just hovering around that production line.
Ooh, one probe might go down! No, it
Tyler's got to be careful. You don't want to lose that probe. You really want to have that information to kind of see, okay, it still looks like it will be a 4-gate. MaNa informing us that this is laggy. Interesting. I'm not seeing any lag, but you know what? He is playing on the North American server, so it could be a little bit of a different experience for him. And a second gas going down for Liquid Tyler, and it's actually right under the nose of MaNa, and you have to be careful with that. Because what Tyler sees here as well, if you check his probe's vision, is he does not see a second gas. In fact, he's seeing Chrono Boost on that warp gate and still the 1 gas, still the 1 gateway. We're almost guaranteed this to be a 4-gate.
Yeah, 20 probes, both of them are cutting. They have equal income, but now Liquid Tyler is going to lose a little bit of minerals for this gas, and we're probably going to see a defensive 3-gate or a defensive 4-gate. He might be going up a little bit.
There it is. There's the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th gate for MaNa. And you're absolutely right, Greetorp. He's actually, in fact, got to get a sentry out, and we see that now. The sentry is being produced, and after the 2nd and 3rd gateway does finish, he's going to have to rely on that force field and the advantage of the ramp to hold this off, because he will be outproduced.
Yeah, without doubt. And now we can see, might be going in for a little bit of pressure, the 1 Stalker and 1 Zealot. I think Tyler will be alright as long as he places force fields correct. He's going to be warping in units momentarily. Going to be 1 unit behind. However, with the sentry defense, I think he's going to be absolutely okay in this engagement.
Well, it's the continuation of the production that's the problem. But what we're going to have here is that MaNa is going to warp in, presumably 4 Stalkers, and it looks like he's going to go ahead and try and do that. Then he's going to place a pylon at the base of Tyler's ramp and try to continue to outproduce him. Tyler does have a sentry, which does have the force field, which is fantastic, but its DPS is very, very low. So here we go. No force field down. It's got to be careful at sentry. And a Stalker goes down. That's a critical mistake by Tyler. It's okay to lose a Zealot there, but a Stalker is really problematic, and he's going to go ahead and warp in another sentry But that pylon's going to finish, and now he can warp in above the ramp.
This isn't good.
And Tyler has trapped one Stalker. It will go down immediately, but now it's 3 Zealots versus the remainder of Tyler's army. Excellent micro pulling back the one Stalker, but loses another, and another Stalker gets sniped by MaNa's fantastic target fire, and it looks like MaNa will get up this ramp and just simply outproduce Tyler. Another sentry trying to get... No, it's a Zealot, and a Stalker immediately goes down, and this is not good for Tyler.
No, Tyler is on the back foot. He is not looking good whatsoever, as these 3 warp gates are trying to be chrono boosted out, but there are too many units for MaNa in this. His aggression is going to yield him the win, and GG coming out from Tyler. That was very decisive by MaNa. I don't think that you can do anything else but 4 warp gate in that beginning stage. You need to be able to scale with your opponents, and that warp in on the top is the biggest thing. All you need is vision, and it's very easy to get vision up there. Once you get the 3 Zealots, you can claim position if you're not going up against another 4 warp gate.
I mean, 3 warp gate double gas versus 4 warp gate is kind of a classic matchup, and a lot of people have conflicting opinions about this. I personally opt for the 3 warp gate a lot. I'm not a big 4 gator most of the time, and I will say that actually 3 warp gate is just fine against it if you hit your markers. There's a couple really important things that you have got to do, and one of them is making sure that that pylon is delayed. You don't even necessarily need to stop it from ever doing anything, but you have to at least get a cancel and delay that pylon for as long as you possibly can, because it's not the first warp-in you have to worry about, it's the second one. If you can have a second warp-in as the defending Protoss with 3 warp gates, you will have a critical mass number of units that, even if they do warp in 4 Zealots at the top of that ramp, as long as you're able to block the lower units, the Stalkers, from coming up that ramp, you'll be able to kill those Zealots in economical amount of time and then get back to that ramp to defend. What happened to Tyler was he was pushed off that ramp because the warp-in came in, and even just microing against those Zealots took him away from the ramp. And once the ramp was awarded to MaNa, the higher production just kicked in, and he was able to destroy Tyler. So on paper, it looks like it's a build order loss or, you know, just an imbalance of the 4 gate, but actually it came down to execution and decision making, and unfortunately, Liquid Tyler fell on the short end of that stick.
Yeah. So unfortunately, Tyler is going to go down 0-1. MaNa looking to close out the series in the next one, but Tyler really wants to stay in this. He's going to be looking to equalize. We're going to take a short break, and we will be back with the continuation of this series.
All right. And there's the countdown, and we do have game number 2 between Mao's MaNa and Liquid Tyler. Mao's MaNa is leading 1-0. This is week number 1, and a lot of people have asked us to talk about, okay, what do these matchups mean? How important is winning that first week? And I can say definitively that every single week is important. Now, of course, a lot of the story is going to happen when the weeks develop. We have a guy who is 4-0 going up against a guy who's 3-1, etc. But I can tell you, 10 weeks might seem like a long time, but actually it's not that long.
It's only 9 matches, so these players... Wait.
It's one or the other.
9 or 10. No, it's 9 matches. Yeah. There only can be 9 matches because there are 10 players, so it's going to be a round robin. And Crevasse, it's entering a new... Now, tell me a little bit. This is a sort of more archaic version of Crevasse.
It is.
Tell me a little bit about it, because I know it was changed, but... I'm
really excited.
It's a PvP. It can't be too imbalanced for either of these players.
Well, imbalanced, doesn't really come into it with this. But here's the problem with other maps. I will say this. On, like, Tal'Darim Altar, on Shakir's Plateau, it's a big map, just like Crevasse is. But you don't have this... I mean, because it's a big map, it makes some things problematic. Like, do I expand? Is he going Blink Stalker? On Tal'Darim Altar, I don't have a ramp, so if they 4-gate me, I'm in trouble. Those are, like, the big question marks we have in those on those maps. But I can tell you right now, looking at Crevasse, look at this little ramp area going outside the main. That is extremely defensible. That's just like a ramp on any other map, like Metalopolis, like we just saw. So you can do 3-gate expand there, or you can do 1-gate expand. But the bottom line is you have this ramp which allows and encourages macro play, because that expansion is actually securable inside your own main. So I'm actually really excited for this, because I feel like this map, in PvP specifically, screams macro. Now, of course, you can still 4-gate, and the 4-gate can still work, especially if the other guy is being super greedy with his macro. But at the same time, I feel like if there's any map to encourage macro in PvP, I guess is the short end of this. It'll be this map.
Yeah, and I hope we do get into that. I know Tyler really likes longer games, as he is the more deliberate player, I would say, of the Protoss players that exist. He likes those decision makings at endgame, and I think he's had a lot of success with that. Both of them just clapping hands, I should say, in the middle of the map as these probes.
They might cross some fingers too.
Yeah, they
cool.
can cross fingers.
Like Pinky swore that they wouldn't kill each other.
Tyler putting up a second gateway, man.
Yeah, it's a pretty fast second gateway. A lot of people have coined this as like the Artosis build, which is just speaking to the power of Artosis, having builds named after him that he absolutely did not create.
I stole this from a Korean,
right?
But I'm gonna call it the Artosis build.
Pretty much. He's an awesome guy. And he's going to get out 3 Stalkers, and the idea behind this build is that you're able to kind of thwart or deter any 4-gate openings. Now, of course, he could branch off from that. It's just kind of what he's posturing at this stage. But meanwhile, we do have MaNa opening up very similarly, at least thus far. Of course, we have this second gateway going down at an odd time, and it's blocking down that ramp. So we actually might see a ramp block, and actually we'll see Tyler's probe die as well. And there it is. So you would see this in like a Protoss versus Zerg as a way of minimizing the amount of Zerglings that kind of run up that ramp. But we're actually seeing it in a PvP here, and I really feel like this is 3-gate expand. The idea behind this is that the warp-in cannot occur. So if Tyler throws down a pylon at the base of that ramp, warping in Zealots will still only allow him entry to a place he could have got anyways. It's going to be blocked down.
Ooh, Robo going up, actually. So it might be looking
and
like
Twilight Council for Tyler. Now, I'll tell you, as I'm going to deem myself the resident Protoss player.
I would deem that
right
as
now.
well.
I can do that. I think the guys in the production room would agree.
They're shaking their heads.
There could be a secret ghost in there, but we've actually just done a small poll, and I'm going to come out on top on that. Blink Stalker is a really, really good opening against what MaNa is doing, because essentially, with half his production at this ramp, Tyler can blink back wounded Stalkers and range out this production. So MaNa has to be very careful. Now, of course, that's just kind of that's one scenario. It doesn't necessarily have to play out that way. The other side of this, too, is that the Robo is a strong opening because you have an expansion that's extremely defensible inside your base. So if MaNa expands here and just goes straight Colossus, if Tyler doesn't either win before that expansion / Colossus kick in or take his own expansion, he could be in a lot of trouble.
I completely agree. An Observer is producing currently in the robotics facility.
And that's bad.
And yeah, he's going to see it extremely late.
It's not bad. Let me correct myself. It's smart. It's normal. It's good. But against what Tyler's doing, you want to somehow make an Immortal first.
Yeah.
And if this Observer, I mean, there is no Immortal coming out just yet. We had 3 more Stalkers being warped in. And actually, MaNa has to be really careful. If he gets caught in the middle of the field, he will get ran down. These Blink Stalkers do move a heck of a lot faster with that Blink ability. And that Observer's in no hurry to get to Tyler's base, so he's actually going to be very late to the party. In a Warp Prism. This is really good for Tyler.
Yeah. Tyler's going to be in excellent position, although this is a very small ramp to be pushing up, so he's not going to have the best arc. With Blink Micro, I'm going to see if Tyler has enough DPS to whittle down this army. Keep in mind, he still does have 3 warp gates, so it's not like the production for MaNa is low whatsoever.
Right.
But we can see Tyler moving in here now.
And MaNa just shot one of his own probes.
Oh, no.
And another probe. You know what? He might be trying to open up supply, actually.
I thought
he did. He did for the Immortal. He tried to squeeze this Immortal out before the pylon finishes.
Wow.
If you notice, he just now started a pylon. Now, this is dangerous. We do have 4 Zealots making their way to Tyler's base, and he just got done warping in a bunch of units. This could be really problematic, especially if he does another warp in. If MaNa times this appropriately, he could be way ahead.
Yeah, he keeps the warp.
There's the Warp Prism. So Tyler does have 3 units in queue, and he is not supply blocked. But I think, he does have the ability to warp in, and Tyler's going to go ahead and have his probes attack the Zealots, and there's another warp in, so we're good. And Tyler's up this ramp. He's got to be careful. There's an Immortal up there, and I think MaNa might be able to hold. And Tyler is just being cut apart here. His productivity is actually hurt real bad.
Yeah, MaNa warped in more units. Now finally the Warp Prism is going to be shelled upon, but not even going to take internal damage. You can see on the income, 23 probes to 27 for MaNa, and MaNa is just massing up very nicely. He's getting a Twilight Council of himself, though.
Yeah, and actually Tyler is doing a fantastic job with this decision making. He knows that he can't get up that ramp. The gateways just give him too much confusion. The Immortal is just too much DPS up at the top of that ramp, and he's going to go ahead and expand here. Now, problematically for him, potentially, MaNa has thrown down a Twilight Council. If he goes Blink Stalker, that's strong, okay. But if he goes Dark Templar, as it stands right now, Tyler's vision, or excuse me, detection, is limited to this one Photon Cannon in his mineral line. So we could see... okay, actually, MaNa is going to go Blink. There will be no Dark Templar, so I'll just kind of hush up about that.
And 2 Stargates.
Yes, 2 Stargate for Tyler. You know, he gave me a lot of crap for Phoenixes in PvP. We'll see. We'll see. It could be Void Ray. Void Ray would be really strong here.
I don't think he has an economy to get Void Ray.
Well, not yet, but he's I mean, his next is about to finish. He's anticipating his expansion being up.
But looks like MaNa wants to push out.
Yeah.
He's destroying these destructible rocks pretty fast, as they are armored structures, and they deal 50, or they get dealt 50 damage from these Immortals. So the destructible rocks go down immediately. And Blink is almost finished. We can see it in the production tab. So he might be in good position to be...
And it is going to be Phoenix. Phoenix are great when you have, like I said, kind of 5, 6, or beyond. But when you only have 1 or 2, they're very, very much so actually a hindrance to your ability to make enough units. Now, here's the question.
Oh no. Oh, and he blinks.
Oh, my gosh.
And loses all these units.
A big blink! And that's it. That's just too much damage. Tyler... taking all that free damage. He does freeze up the shield, but with that Observer, MaNa is able to blink up that ramp, and that's GG, ladies and gentlemen. We're just waiting on Tyler to kind of realize what just happened. But
there's no need for Tyler to blink right there.
And we're getting a lecture on the ramps being small. Oh, he's upset about his attack. His attack didn't work because the ramp is small, I suppose. Now... yep, I think Tyler's just kind of reeling in, just kind of soaking up what just happened. MaNa's just going to clean up house here. But let's go ahead and talk about that game a little bit. I mean, on paper, I really like what Tyler did, the Blink Stalker opening, but I think part of the problem is he stayed committed to it for too long. Now, of course, that's a tough pick, but if you see those gateways at the top of the ramp for players at home, you just kind of have to recognize that, okay, Blink Stalker, I actually opened this up saying that's really strong, but it didn't pan out that way. I think MaNa's got some experience utilizing those gateways to deter from any kind of warp-in, or even the Blink Stalker, I suppose.
I like how defensive MaNa was. And on top of that, the force fields on the bottom ramp were exquisitely good. He was able to deny so much sight on pushing up.
Oh, wow.
Oh.
Tyler's getting quite upset.
Yeah, Tyler's very angry right now.
Well,
that's going to do it. 2-0 for MaNa.
One of my caster cherries that needed to be popped was the one where a player kind of comes unglued, and Tyler got a little upset there, and you know what?
It happens.
It happens. They're professional players. Yes. He trains really hard. I actually, you can check out Tyler on State of the Game and see that he is a guy that cares. He cares a heck of a lot. I mean, someone asked him point blank, they're like, where you been in the last few days? Why haven't you watched so-and-so? And he said, listen, after I lost my TSL 3 match, I became a turtle, and I just closed off. And I'll tell you why. Because when you care so much and you try so hard and you put so much work into something, and then you lose a match that everyone's watching, it's really, really difficult. Imagine playing a wrestling match in a stadium where 100,000 people are watching. However many people download this VOD or watch it on the stream or check out the live report thread on Team Liquid or something like that, that's how many people are watching Tyler execute a strategy that he worked really hard on and fail. And that is really difficult to handle. So Tyler, wearing his emotion on his sleeve, our hearts go out to him. He's a fantastic player. He represents an amazing team. And you know what? It's just week number 1, so we can count on him rallying back.
Yeah. Unfortunately, he's going to go down 0-2. We're going to see him next week, but now we have to go into match number 3.
But before we do, though, let's give props to MaNa, because it's not fair to just say, sorry, Tyler, that's really bad.
MaNa played brilliant. He did.
I mean,
he just defended against the Blink Stalkers very effectively. The 2 gateways were positioned nicely, and the force fields on the bottom, denying any sort of blink up to the top, was absolutely
Game 1
exquisite.
through 2, the execution was flawless. In game number 1, the 4-gate executed perfectly, just forcing himself up that ramp, and Tyler held it off fairly well. It's not like he made a glaring mistake. It's just that the execution of MaNa was so concise and deliberate that it just really gave Tyler no chance. And then in game number 2, he knew what to expect. He said, okay, I'm teching, if you do a 4-gate or blink stalker strategy, I really like these gateways narrowing down the ramp so that I can kind of space you out. And with that, sitting behind the DPS of the Immortal, he was able to say, now I followed up with a blink stalker strategy of my own. And in doing so, he just took Tyler by surprise. And again, those Phoenix are fantastic units in PvP, but only if you can get later into the game. If you have 1, 2, or 3 of them, they're nothing. If you have 5, 6, 7, or 8 of them, they can win you the game, as we saw with Axelad versus Squirtle. So, an interesting situation. Again, our hearts go out to Tyler. We're very sorry. It's a tough match. You played your heart out, and hopefully you rally back. But congrats to MaNa taking it down 2-0 and putting himself in that spot in this league, or in this division, excuse me, where for right now he is undefeated. So with a small break, we're going to go into the next match, and I hope you guys join with us.